Hello, I'm so glad that you're here. I am Sandy Lee. I'm the founder of Distilled Destinations and the creator of STR JumpStart, and we are going to talk all about building wealth today, maybe retiring early, definitely investing in short-term rentals and real estate investing in general, and why it might be right for you, why it's certainly been right for me. A quick note before we start, this was originally done as a live webinar, and I'm re-recording it now so that it can live here on YouTube and on Easy Webinar forever. So if you're watching on Easy Webinar, you're still welcome to send me questions and I will answer those through your email as soon as I can. If you're watching on YouTube, please feel free to drop me a note, sandy@strjumpstart.com, and I'll answer those questions as well, just as quickly as I can. I would love to stay in touch with you after this and into the future. Hear about your investments and everything that you have going on. A little bit about me to start and why I definitely approach real estate investments differently than probably some of the other folks that you've heard on podcasts and other places. I spent 30 years in engineering and construction in the energy sector in Texas. I was actually one semester away from graduating when I went to work full-time for the company that I had been interning with, and I stayed in that industry my entire career. Two different firms in total, but over 27 years with the same engineering and construction firm. I worked my way up from the bottom into senior leadership, eventually serving as senior vice president and later leading the private equity arm of that same company. That private equity experience gave me deep exposure into how investments really worked, financial modeling, risk, capital allocation, and long-term returns, not in theory, but inside operating businesses. I got training in the role from Columbia, and I really loved learning that private equity investing side of the energy business. It was incredible. What I didn't do was start early in real estate. I bought my first short-term rental at 50. Good news is 5 years later, I was able to retire at 55. Not because I inherited money or took big risks, but because I applied the same disciplined, numbers-driven approach to real estate investing, specifically short-term rentals, that I did in my engineering and construction career. And here's the part that I really want you to hear. This is something that you can do, even while you're still working. Earlier is always better with any investment, but later still works because the compounding math of real estate, and especially short-term rentals, doesn't care when you start. Today, I'm going to show you exactly how. So let's talk about why this webinar matters. In the next 30 minutes or so, we're going to walk through, and I'm going to show you a graphic here, why short-term rentals work, whether you're starting at 30, 40, 50, 60 or beyond, how reallocating a portion of your investments into real estate can accelerate that long-term wealth for you. We're going to talk about how to use your STR as a part-time vacation home, if that's something that interests you, for your family and friends without changing your investment outcome at all. We're going to talk about what the numbers realistically look like over 10 years, how a short-term rental investment compares with a stock market investment, real examples from my own portfolio, what I did right, what I fixed, how my investments are doing right now. I'm going to share really openly with you guys. A realistic roadmap for how to get you started. And everything you'll hear today is grounded in my real properties and real numbers from around the United States. That's where my investments are. We're going to start with why short-term rentals are a powerful vehicle, even if you're still working, if you start late, or whatever your personal situation is. Real estate investing has been popular for a long time. But short-term rentals have a few unique qualities that make them ideal for people who are getting serious about wealth building, even if it's later in life. Short-term rentals produce returns on multiple levels at one time. Real estate's always powerful. It really is. And you probably have heard that in lots of different places. You make money in real estate in so many different ways. Even in year one, you get, I'm going to show you another graphic here. You get rental income, You get principal pay down from the mortgage. You get market appreciation. You get tax benefits with deductions that you can offset both your real estate and sometimes your other income. And then you get some personal use if you want to use it. You're not relying on a single lever, which makes it much easier to perform really well with short-term rentals. Real estate, and specifically short-term rentals, are such a beautiful investment. Now, you can tell that I love them so much because of that exact thing. The benefits of this investment are so diverse that even on a year when there's a weakness in one part of the investment, the other parts are still working for you. That's what I love. I love that about real estate in general, and I love that specifically about short-term rentals. The other thing I'm loving about real estate right now is that with so much uncertainty in the market right now, it's a great time to really diversify your portfolio. This is an asset that you could have a lot of personal control over, and that's just not something that you can say about most stocks. What stock do you get to control much of anything about, right? But an asset like a piece of real estate, you get to control a lot about. And that's really important to someone like me. You get to control where you buy it, what type of home or condo it is. You can control how you take care of it. You can control how you run it or whether you have someone else run it for you. If you make it a short-term rental or if you make it a long-term rental, and all of these things will have an influence on your returns. And that's great news, right? All of these control things you don't get to have over a stock. I love that about short-term rentals. Also, you don't need 20 years for this to work. This is where STRs really shine. A really well-run STR can outperform the stock market, get this, within 12 to 24 months, not decades. And I have my own properties to show for this. If you've ever looked at your 401k or your brokerage account and thought, what if something happens in the market? Real estate has always been a game changer. And short-term rentals are one of the most game-changing, one of the most profitable types of real estate. They can change the curve dramatically. Even if your starting line is a little bit later, like mine was. They've changed the curve dramatically for me. I'm going to show you the build up to how my properties return 15% a year within 2 years and 30% a year within 10 years. Those are amazing numbers. Yes, I'm really proud of it. It's not just me, it's how the industry works. And I worked hard to get there as well. But you can combine those numbers to make a really great life for yourself also, because you can also combine this investment with your lifestyle if you want to buy an investment in a location that your family loves. You could get an appreciating asset and a place that your family vacations and tax advantage personal use and a home that creates memories, legacy, something for your kids, your grandkids maybe. You're not choosing between vacation house and investment. You're building both. Crazy, right? This is how I got started in this industry. I'll tell you a little bit more about that later. If I seem animated and excited, well, I am. So let's talk a little bit about that specifically, the lifestyle benefit. It's a vacation home that also pays you. This is one of the most underrated parts of STR investing, in my opinion. Not only can your short-term rental produce income, but it can also become the backdrop of your family's best memories. I'll share just a little bit from my own life, because if you're anything like me, you're saying, hey, Sandy, get to the numbers. But I really do want to tell you a little bit about my portfolio for a few reasons. One is to show you that I retired on 4 properties. You might be thinking that I've got this huge portfolio up here and that's why it's done so well for me. You might think it takes 10, 20, 30 properties to make all of this happen. But no, with the right portfolio, you can do this with whatever number works for you. The other is to show you that none of my properties are in the same state. And that's for a reason, right? I want to be able to vacation at all of my properties. None of them are close to home. Again, I want to be able to vacation at all of my properties. It's not as hard as you think to manage a short-term rental from afar. I can show you how to exactly do that in just a few hours a week. I spend most of my time traveling. Here's a graphic of the 4 properties that I have. Whiskey Ridge in Steamboat, Colorado. Steamboat was my first property and has been the best performer. I really wish I had bought Steamboat 10 years before I did, but I didn't. I bought it post-COVID, but even with only a few years and a higher than I'd like interest rate, I'm still thrilled with how our Steamboat property is doing. Our extended family spent our last Thanksgiving there, and we were able to enjoy our family time together, walk to the slopes and ski, and those memories will last forever. I felt so blessed to be able to do that. Whiskey Sands is our Orange Beach, Alabama property. When I went looking for a beach property, we chose Orange Beach. I say we, my son and I. For the profits, we chose Orange Beach for the profits, but we fell in love for the area. I chose a well laid out new construction 4-bedroom home that backs up to the Gulf State Park, and I haven't been sorry for a moment. We have spent large family holidays in the home, and I have spent weeks there in the off season. That's one of the secrets. Spend your time there in the off season when it doesn't cost you very much. And I just love the local seafood there. Absolutely love it there. Very peaceful. Whiskey Hills is our Mars Hill, North Carolina, our cabin in North Carolina that's near Asheville, on top of a small ski mountain in picturesque Blue Ridge Mountains. Might be the most peaceful spot I have ever visited. I love to spend time there in the off season, just hiking on the Appalachian Trail. Whiskey River is our New Braunfels, Texas property. That's our home in New Braunfels, Texas. It's in the heart of the Texas Hill Country, where summer tubing is a tradition for our family. It's just beautiful there. The Guadalupe River is amazing. Love of music and country dancing comes together at Green Hall, right down the road from our Whiskey River property. So that's it, just 4 homes. But 4 homes that fueled my retirement and allow me to set my own schedule, do my own thing, decide what I want to do. If I want to work, I can work. If I don't have to. I love that. You're not buying a house just for guests. You're buying a home that can be a part of your life, your legacy, and your financial future. The investment's the important part. So let's get to it. Let's talk about the numbers. The numbers are what matters the most, right? The numbers are the only thing that matters, really. Nothing else happens unless the numbers work, right? This is the heart of the presentation. One of the most important questions that people ask me is, what does this really look like over a 10-year horizon? How much do I have to invest? How much will it pay me back? Can it really cash flow? All of those really important questions. It's not the easiest time in real estate investing, so let's walk the math and let's really talk about it. I have a lot of whys for why I'm in this industry, but this is the main one. The math has to work. So let's look at a typical 10-year outcome. Let's imagine someone invests $200,000 total upfront. That's a down payment plus furnishing plus reserves that you'd want to keep. For you, this might be a home that's maybe $900,000 or so. $1 million would be the most. You finance the rest of it, buys in a solid, dependable vacation market where you know you can get a short-term rental permit. Typical revenues for year 1 through 3 would be $95,000 to $120,000. I used $110 in the model. Expenses, I used $78,000 in the model, about $78,000 to $80,000. As you stabilize and grow, though, and the market grows, your 4 to 10 numbers are much higher. Your cash flow is going to grow to $60,000 to $80,000 a year, and that's where some of the magic starts to happen. Your mortgage does not increase, but your revenue does. So your cash flow rises typically. Your appreciation rate is about 3 to 6% annually. Your loan pay down grows each year. And by year 10, you've paid down $130,000 of your mortgage. You've cash flowed $460,000. Your home has appreciated $600,000, and you have a consistent addition to your annual salary of $60,000 to $80,000 and a part-time vacation home for your family. And look, that's with one high-end short-term rental. Doesn't that sound like a pretty big help to your retirement? It's what made mine happen. So let's back this up with a few numbers from my own properties. I'll show you how I calculate annualized rate of return to compare to the stock market, and then exactly how mine are performing right now. So first, what is annualized rate of return? Annualized rate of return is your cumulative earnings divided by your cash invested, all divided by your years invested. This is a great way to compare a real estate investment to a stock investment, a mutual fund, a savings account, or any other investment. I have 4 properties, and currently my lowest performer is returning in the low teens. My highest performer is returning an annual return of gulp, a staggering 34.88% annualized rate of return. My average is in the high teens, and in 10 years, I project, based on the average market trends, for my annualized rate of return to be higher than 30% across all of my properties. That's amazing. It's the power of real estate. It's the power of short-term rentals, and I've had so much fun putting the portfolio together. Again, it's small, but I've loved putting it together, using it, sharing it with others for their vacations. Because it's small, I've had time to put STR JumpStart together, which is great. I'm an Airbnb super host. My properties are all guest favorites at the top 5 to 10% of all Airbnb properties. I'm also a Vrbo Premier host, and I have my own direct booking website. I also use booking.com as well, and all of that makes my revenue higher than my competitors' revenue. So that matters. And all of that is easier than you think with the right automation in place. I spend about 5 hours a week running my 4 properties. It's kind of amazing. 5 hours a week running my 4 properties. So you might be thinking, what now? I've learned a lot. What do I do now if I want to keep going? When I started in this business, I listened to podcasts for 2 years before I bought my first property. It's almost embarrassing. I read books, I watched YouTube, I searched and searched for a step-by-step roadmap that would tell me exactly how to select the right market, find a property, run the numbers. I was a little lost. How do I close on my first deal? How do I make sure it's a good one? Where do I even start? How do I use the right software? What are the tools that I need? How am I going to set up my property? How am I going to operate it from day to day? And I was taking all of these notes, listening to all these podcasts. I couldn't find what I wanted, so I built it. This is where STR JumpStart comes in. This webinar gave you the big picture why, but STR JumpStart will show you the exact how. If you want the full blueprint, the model I built, the frameworks, the workflows, the full tech stack, the software that helps you run the short-term rental with AI, the operations, the financial analysis tools, the scripts, the templates, that's everything I teach inside STR JumpStart, and it won't take nearly as long as you think. It's about 6 hours of full training, and then you'll have it forever. It's a step-by-step masterclass. It's designed for people who want clarity, structure, and real numbers, not hype. It's easier than you think when you have the right tools. It's the exact course I wish I had had when I started. Within STR JumpStart, you'll get 50 video lessons that you'll have access to forever. Like I said, it's about 5 hours of learning plus quite a few bonuses. You won't have to take it in all at once. You can watch a little at a time as you need the information. There are 6 critical downloads that you'll use and keep to run your business, including my full multi-property 12-year financial model, the same one that I created and used to run my own personal business. You'll get the financial model. You'll get a research toolkit. You'll get goal setting worksheets, and I'll help you through those. You'll get an STR inventory tracker with all of my favorite items. You'll get messaging templates, operations and organization toolkits. You're not too late. I hear this all the time in the industry. I wish I'd started 10 years earlier. Same. But here's the truth. I started at 50 and I retired at 55. The time will pass either way. You can spend the next 10 years wishing you had started earlier, or you can spend the next 10 years watching your assets grow that you own and enjoy and just get it all going. Or you can spend the next 10 years watching an asset grow that you own and enjoy and just start now. Starting late doesn't disqualify you. It actually makes you more thoughtful, more strategic, and more capable. But whenever you start with someone who's doing it now. Start with someone who started after COVID like you are. Start with someone who can help you with the right roadmap to save you the time and effort. I'd love to help you along the way.